guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be starting a bunch of annual flower seeds. These are the ones that fall within the 6 to 8 week before your last frost date range. Right now we're probably right around the 8-week mark for us. We typically have our last freeze right around the first part of May sometime, and it's okay if they need to stay in the greenhouse another week or so until we plant them out. But I've got a whole bunch of different varieties. This is probably one of my bigger groups of annual flower seeds we'll be starting. We'll have a few that fall within that 4 to 6 week range, but most of them are right here. And I have these in no particular order. I just thought we should sit, because there's so many, run through all the different varieties. We'll throw some pictures up on the screen, and some of these I have experience with and some I do not. And then we're gonna go to the greenhouse and get them all planted. And I wanna say most of these seeds are from Johnny's. That's where I get a ton of mine. If my parents' garden center doesn't carry them, because they do a lot of bulk seeds that are really good for our area, so I always start there first for some of those things, and it's a lot of vegetable seeds, and then there are some cosmos and zinnias and stuff like that that I pick up there. But for any of the specialty stuff, I usually check Johnny's seeds first, and we don't work with them at all, but the information that they include on their seed packets is invaluable. I mean, there's so much information. I've learned a lot from their packets, but all that said, they don't have pictures on them, so I probably won't even be holding up seed packets. We're just gonna roll through these quick so we can get to the planting part. So the first ones I have here are 2 different types of hibiscus, which are annual in our area. Mahogany Splendor is the first one, and it's one of my favorite plants. You know, you can use it for cutting. You do want to make sure when you cut the stems, you're cutting into harder wood, not like soft new growth, because it will wilt like instantly. I did that the first time I planted this plant. I went out when they looked beautiful. I cut a big bunch of them, had them in a bucket. By the time I got them up here to do an arrangement, they were completely wilted because I did not know how to cut them properly. So that's pretty important, that you're cutting some hardened stems off. But they grow pretty good size, like anywhere from 40 to 70 inches tall in one season. And they look like a Japanese maple. So if you live in an area where you struggle with Japanese maples, but you love that structure, you can always pop some of these in because they can take they want full sun. And they're just so easy to take care of. But anyway, we're gonna start some of these, and then we've got a variety called Rosella, which one of you guys sent out. And I'm excited for this because this is the type that has the really pretty blooms that you can use to infuse for like teas and things like that. It also says that, so the unopened flowers are used for tea infusions, jams, and relishes. And the leaves can be used in salads. Now, I'm not a huge tea drinker, but the idea of jams and relishes and salads, I think that'll be really fun, not to mention just how pretty the blooms are. I'm guessing I'm gonna be starting these exactly the same way. The seeds I already looked at the seeds, they look pretty much the same as the Mahogany Splendor. Next one is Sunball Craspedia. I love this plant. It's only a zone 8 through 11. I wish it was perennial here, but I still grow it every year as an annual because they like it dry, they like hot weather, and they like full sun, and they're such a unique looking plant. So they'll grow like 2 to 2.5 feet tall, but the leaves, the basal leaves, are just kind of narrow and icy blue. Beautiful plant. And then they send out these really long, thin, but very strong silver stems with yellow shaped blooms on the top that are like drumsticks. I think the common name is drumstick flower. And they dry beautifully, and they're gorgeous. I had even picked some out of the garden. Was it like December? They just preserved themselves right there on the plant and looked beautiful, and I picked a bouquet of them. I think I took a picture. I'll see if I can find it, but they are just a really great one, and one that I love to have in the cut garden every year. Quick word about these though is that I have struggled with aphids one of the years. I had aphids on the plants when I had them in the greenhouse. So it was something I had to treat them for, which they're easy. Aphids are easy, but you know, some plants are just more prone. Like aphids are more attracted to certain plants, and this seemed to be one of them. It was almost kind of like they were on the Craspedia and the artichokes. And they kind of have like a similar furry sort of leaf. It was weird. Next we have Cerenth. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Honeywort is the common name. Kiwi Blue is the variety. This one I have grown for a couple of seasons, and it's funny because in their trays in the greenhouse or in the studio when I've grown them before, the plants looked almost a little bit puny. It's kind of like Dianthus. They kind of looked puny in their trays. Once I got them out, they just exploded with growth. This is another one that aphids tend to like a little bit, so you just need to keep your eye out for that. But they grow about 2.5 to almost 3 feet tall, and the color of these, it's like this iridescent purple, blue, green. They're so pretty, and they've got a really unique looking bloom. The next one is Chocolate Flower. which I ripped the top off the seed packet. I was reading up on these earlier and I was taking a look at what the seeds looked like. And I don't know how this one got into my annual bunch, but it's actually a perennial in zones 4 through 10. So the ones I planted out in the cut flower garden might come back. Now it does recommend on the seed packet to direct sow these, which I did last year, but I'm way more reliable at watering when everything is together in the greenhouse. So I'm gonna try doing it that way this year. I'm gonna do that with all my zinnias and cosmos as well, just because I don't wanna drag hoses out and have to go out there multiple times a day because we're so windy in the spring to take care of that. I just thought it might be easier, but the blooms are beautiful, like little yellow daisies with a chocolate colored center, and they do truly smell like chocolate. It's amazing. And next we have one that's completely new to me. I've never grown it before. It's the Joey Lambstail Pilotus, P-T-I-L-O-T-U-S. What it says is heat and drought tolerant Australian annual, produces gorgeous 3 to 5 inch soft lavender and white fuzzy spikes from late spring until frost. Superb for cutting, 16 to 18 inches tall. Unique silver green leaves. This packet only came with 5 seeds, so I'm hoping that we have good luck and that all 5 of them germinate. I didn't want to get more than 1 packet though because I just wanted to try it first. Okay, and then we have some Strawflowers, and I've got several different varieties here. I have some Swiss Giants blend. I don't think I'm going to actually grow that one. That's kind of a mix of colors because I got some really fun new ones. So we've got Vintage White, Purple Red, Apricot Peach, and King Size Raspberry Rose. Now all of these grow like 3 to 3.5 feet tall. They have nice big blooms and they are perfect for drying because they maintain their beautiful color. Anyway, these are one that I need to plant in the same row that I do like the Craspedia and China Asters, things that just want very low water. They are easy to grow so long as you don't get them too wet. Then we have one that came from Thomas Jefferson Center for Historic Plants, Monticello. It's just the Horminum Sage. One of you guys sent it out, thought it'd be fun to try it, so we're gonna put this one in. It's a half hardy annual, so just a tender perennial. This is one that I forgot to soak, so this does technically need to be planted. I'll plant them tomorrow. This is Butterfly Pea, Lavender Queen. They are absolutely gorgeous. This one came from Rare Seeds. I tried it last year, did not have good luck, so I'm gonna try it again this year. This packet, did I already say, has just 10 seeds in it? So we'll try and see how it goes. It's a perennial in zone 10 through 11, and it grows vines to 6 feet in full sun to partial shade. So anyway, we need to nick the seed and soak overnight. That's what we will do. So we won't be planting these today, but I will be putting them in tomorrow. Next group of seed are Statice. Statice are kind of one of those flowers that I think kind of like come into vogue and out of vogue and that sort of thing. They're really good for dried arrangements. And they come in so many different colors. I grew it from seed for the first time last year. I used Botanical Interest Cotton Candy Blend. That was the variety, and they were so beautiful. I enjoyed them so much. So did the bumblebees. I noticed the bumbles wanted to go to the Statice over most everything else that was out there. I noticed all kinds of butterfly action and it was just amazing. Plus, they look great even when the plant dies because the flowers maintain color and they're on the plant looking beautiful even through the winter months until you pull them. We did harvest a bunch though. I have it drying in the studio, or it is dried, and I hung some in our cut flower shed. So even if I don't use those for projects, the ones I have harvested, they look beautiful just bundled hanging from the ceiling. So this year I decided to go with kind of color blocking so that I could guarantee a lot of each color. So we have Seeker Purple, Forever Silver, Yellow, Seeker Pastel Blue, and Apricot Beauty. Next we have some Rudbeckia, several different varieties. I typically have really good luck with Rudbeckia from seed. We did it for a couple of years in a row, had beautiful success with it, especially the first year when our cut flower garden was just plunked right out in the middle of the kind of raw field before we started developing it. They were so, so beautiful. The next year they were great. Last year I struggled with them a little bit, and I think that's because I was keeping them too wet in the greenhouse. So anyway, these are the varieties we're gonna do this year. We've got Orange Fudge, Gloriosa, Double Daisy, which that one grows 3 to 3.5 feet tall. We have Sahara, which is my favorite, 20 to 22 inch plant. And this variety seems to have multiple different flower structures and multiple different flower colors on the one plant. And they're very autumn looking. I just love them. Prairie Sun, which is a beautiful bright yellow. And then we have Cherry Brandy, which is another favorite, really beautiful kind of rosy, deep rosy red blooms. Then we have a whole bunch of varieties of Dianthus. We have the Sweet White, We have the sweet purple white bicolor. I grew this one last year and it did amazing. They were the best looking seedlings I had in our greenhouse the whole time. They looked awesome the whole time. And they bloomed beautifully. So I'm really happy with that one. The sweet white will be really fun to try. And then these other 3 new varieties to me, we have Marie Chabaud, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Chabaud, 2 to 2.5 foot tall plant. We have Chabaud La France, and Chabaud Orange Sherbet. So the pictures online show these blooms looking really big and lush and gorgeous, but I have heard that the blooms are a little bit on the smaller side, so I'm not sure what to expect with these. And I think they're kind of like a tender perennial. Let me see. Zone 6 through 9. So you never know. It might be one of those that's better the second year, you know, after they've established. Sometimes plants don't grow or perform the same the first year because they're just trying to get going. So if they do make it through winter, maybe we'll mulch them up really well. So they might do something different next year. Who knows? Then we have Feverfew, which is a self-seeding annual. It's kind of like a, I don't know if they call it a, self-sows. They don't call it a tender perennial. Yeah, tender perennial. This is an awesome one as a filler flower, you guys. Just amazing. They seem to be in bloom for 2 flushes during the summer for us. They come out and then they bloom beautifully. We cut on them, and then we cut them back by about half or so, and then they come back and bloom again. But we have Feverfew White Stars, and then we have Vegmo Sunny Ball. Anyway, soft sunny clouds of lemon yellow and white make this a cheerful self-sowing perennial. I just think these are the sweetest looking flowers. Next, we have a whole bunch of Campanulas, or Bellflowers is the common name. I've not grown these from seed. These are the type that grow pretty good size, like 3 to 3.5 feet tall. And they have really long stems with great big bells hanging off of them. And I think these are a type that you can actually start out, depending on where you are, you can put them like in a cold frame for a while. Let's see. So they want to germinate at 65 to 68 degrees, which is perfect. That's what our greenhouse will be, except for on really sunny days. But when you grow them on, they want to be 50 to 55 degrees. So growing on after germination, reduce lighting to 10 hours per day. 11 hours or more can cause premature flowering, and 50 to 55 degrees is the ideal temperature at the small seedling stage. Interesting. So we're going to have to watch that and maybe kind of move them around depending on what temperature we have where. But we have Champion White, Champion Lavender, Champion Pink, and Champion Blue. This will be an experiment. We'll see how it goes. And then we have some China Asters, which I wasn't going to grow at all this year, but I had some left in my stash. This is Lady Coral Lavender. And then one of you guys sent me out, I always like to look at the seeds, so I tear off the tops because I know I'm not going to have enough to probably save the packet, but like this deeper kind of violet, deeper pink. They're really pretty. Now I don't know, I can't read the language on this one, so I can't tell you any exact information, but this one grows 2 to 2.5 feet tall, and they really are beautiful flowers, so long as you don't overwater them. Don't overlove your asters. Then one of you guys sent me, this is a blue Rottnest Island Daisy. I've never heard of a flower called a Rottnest Island Daisy. It looks almost like a pincushion flower, but the botanical name is Trachyme, Trachyme. Yeah. This came from Australia. One of you guys sent this along with something else. I don't know that it's in this particular grouping of seeds, but this will be really fun to try. And then we've got some Celosia. We've got just several varieties of that. Sunday Wine Red, which one of you guys sent me a few years ago, and I've been planting off of what you sent me for like 3 or 4 years, and I still have quite a bit of seed. And they are beautiful. They grow beautifully for us every single year. In fact, I started these from seed in our greenhouse last season late. I had a late crop of these, and I grew them in the paper pots, you know, from gardeners, that kind of accordion style out. And they did so well. I might do that again. I've actually saved all of those paper pots for my zinnias and cosmos and things that don't need to be in the tray as long, but I'm gonna start these in regular trays today. But we've got pink spiked Celosia. I actually noticed a sticker on this packet that said extra seeds were added to this packet due to reduced germination. So I'm just gonna probably load up the seeds in one of the packs. Anyway, Selway White and Crystal Beauty. And Celosia is just so easy to grow, and it's just got a very unique structure to it. Every year I grow the one that's kind of wide. It comes out like a fan shape and it kind of looks like a brain a little bit, or like an under the sea sort of flower. I am not going to grow that one this year because I just find myself not knowing how to use it. It's just such a bulky, awkward looking flower that it needs to kind of just be on its own in a way. So I'm just going to skip that. And then our last group of seeds here are gompphrenas, which I don't really love them for cutting. I mean, they're okay for cutting because the blooms last forever and they dry beautifully, but I love the way the plant looks, and I don't know if I'm going to actually put these in the cut flower garden or if I'm just going to tuck them into the landscape. But we've got raspberry cream, orange, pink, and Audrey white. So we'll have a good selection of color, at least from those, but I found when I went to go cut them, they were just a little bit more tedious because the stems were so skinny, and the stems didn't tend to be as long, but that I have a couple of new varieties that I haven't grown before, so every variety is different. And that's it, you guys. Those are the seeds we're going to go start. We're going to head out to the greenhouse. We're going to do our typical, I mean, the seed starting part of this is kind of routine. You know, we use this Spoma seed starting mix. We lightly moisten it, pack our seed trays full, tamp them down, add our seeds, add vermiculite, add more soil if we need to over the top of them. But a lot of these need to be surface sown, which means we will pack our seed packs to the tippy top, put our seeds in, and then I put vermiculite, a fine layer on the top, and just lightly press them into the soil surface. And the vermiculite, even if the seed packet says that it needs light in order to germinate, if you just do a fine layer, that will still allow enough light in for the seed to germinate, but it will help with moisture levels. And then when we're all done, I mist in each tray just to make sure everything's settled into place. We put a humidity dome on them, and then all of these are going to be going into the studio. So let's head out there. just finished up and we ended up with 16 flats total. Not all of them have humidity domes yet because I didn't have enough of them out here in the greenhouse. We'll grab those once we get them inside, but let me show you. We've got 5 flats here, 2 flats sitting here, 3 flats sitting there, and the rest on the ground. So the next part is going to be a little tricky. We're going to get these all in the studio. I have to reorganize a bunch of stuff so that these will fit under our grow lights. And I'm opting for the studio rather than keeping them here with all of our other things that we've started, because a lot of these annual flowers, they like a lot of heat. And the stuff that I have in here is like onions, which are a cool season vegetable. And then we have, perennial flowers. I feel like perennial flowers are just a little bit more forgiving in the temperature department, even though I think all of them have an ideal temperature range for germination. So it does dip down in here a little bit lower than that range for some of these at night. So it will prolong how long it takes them to germinate, but I still feel like I'm better off leaving those out here, taking the annuals inside. But things are going well. These are our hollyhocks. We still are waiting on a couple of seeds to germinate. I just popped these lids off today, and some of these just popped overnight. And then we've got Rudbeckia here, which the seedlings are tiny, but they're there. There's yarrow over there. We've got some foxglove coming up as well. I don't know if you can see those. This whole tray is almost all up. I'll probably take this dome off tomorrow. Our onions and so on and so forth. Okay, let's get all of these moved. I actually thought to bring in the gorilla cart so that I didn't have to carry these all individually, which is what I usually do. I got them all to fit and didn't have to do near the amount of organizing that I thought I was going to have to do. That will probably come in the next stage of seed starting. When we do our 6 to 8 weekers, then it's going to get a little bit dicey. I was able to fit 12 of them right here. That's a huge portion. I only had to move a handful of plants. I had some project supplies on that shelf. There's no tray in this system right now because I've got all of those mountain crest succulents sitting in that tray in the Hartley at the moment, but it doesn't matter. When you're putting 11 by 22 trays in this system, you can either fit 2 lengthwise, which when you do that, they do get maximum light, but you can also fit them this way if you need to. And they just kind of rest right on top of the metal structure of the grow light. And all of these seed trays in and of themselves are watertight. I didn't put any drainage holes in the 11 by 22 tray that's holding in all of the packs, which I do when I'm leaving them out in the greenhouse because I'm much more liberal with water out there. I can just be a lot more wild with it because I'm not trying to protect the floor and the walls and all of that. I'm much more controlled with my water in here. So there's the first 12. 3 of them on this system. This one, which I forgot to put domes on, and that one. This one was already there. And then over here, I was able to pop one right in that system. And these are all the snapdragons we just planted. They're all germinating. I had to pop all the domes off already. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna steal a couple of these. You only need these humidity domes for such a short time. It just helps control moisture and heat until they germinate, and then they need to be taken right off. And I immediately put a fan on them. And you don't want to keep these humidity domes on for too long anyway because they can cause fungal issues. It can make for weak plants. When you pop these off as soon as you see green in all your cells and then get a fan on them, it creates some really nice strong seedlings. You do have to water them quite a bit more after you take the humidity domes off though, that's for sure, especially if you've got a fan on them. But look at this, this is our Dusty Miller, the Senecio. I think every single cell came up. I think actually every single seed came up. I'm seeing 2 or 3 in each one of these cells. Awesome. And while for daily watering and checking, I would rather have them up higher because it's just easier on me. It will be a lot nicer fan-wise as when you have them up in a higher system, you have to get fancy with your fan, or I do anyway. Maybe I don't have the right kind of fans, but I can set one right here on the floor and it'll hit all of these easily. I won't have to prop it up on a 5-gallon bucket. It's actually warm enough today. I'm leaving this door open and it feels glorious. I could probably pop this open for a little while. Wonder how everything in here would feel about that. Maybe it's too soon. And that's it, you guys, for today's project. I thought I was going to end up with 20 flats because I thought I had more of the 24 cell trays available, but it actually ended up being a little bit easier to fit them into the grow lights, being only 16 flats. And then, you know, with the 4 to 6 week seeds will come in, and some of these at that point might be up and good enough to go out to the greenhouse, and they can continue growing on out there. A lot of times, and you can read this on, I know, on Johnny's seed packets. Johnny's always has the best information, but a lot of times you need kind of a high temperature to get things to germinate, and then they want to be grown on at a cooler temperature than the one that they germinate at. So a lot of times we can get stuff growing in here and then pop it out there. Or, you know, if you've got stuff in an area that's kind of ideal, but you don't have enough space, but you have another space where you can move them to where it's just a little less, you know, intense in the heat department. A lot of things thrive that way, so long as there's enough light. And you know, every year I feel like we hone the process a little bit more. I kind of am the type, I'm not a researcher at all. I don't enjoy that process. I like to do it. And when I do the project, a lot of times I learn ways that I don't want to be doing that project again. Like China Asters being one of them. I've grown them for a couple of years already, and I struggle with them every year because every time I get them out to the garden, they grow great in their trays. I get them out to the garden and I give them too much water because I'm giving them water the same as I'm watering everything else. What I need to do is give them their own section in the garden. So there are a few things, the Strawflowers, the paper daisies that we're going to start later on, the Craspedia, the China Asters, all those things I think we need to have in the same row. But I learned those things by failing at it or not having very much success. That's how I learn it. And I rarely have an idea as to where all these are gonna go. Like, they'll go out in the cut flower garden, but I have no idea how I'm gonna organize it. The only one I figured spacing out on this year was snapdragons, because I way overdid last year by like 72 plants. I did an extra tray of 72 that I didn't need, so I pared that down this year. Other than that, I do give a lot of seedlings away to family and friends. Every year I kind of plant what we need out there, and then I have this little pile left over, and they do go to new homes. So it's just a fun process to grow these things. I really enjoy it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know we have a lot of seed starting stuff going on this time of year, but it's just kind of the name of the game. I might get out and do something else outside though later on because it's sunny and gorgeous. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.